Hey everyone, I'm Nico Chief Bricks, and today I am building 3 original Trilogy Mocs in 3 days. I've been building some Clone Wars Mocs recently, and I've always had the interest in building original Trilogy Mocs. My original Trilogy collection has grown a bit, so there's many figures to use in that opportunity. But before we get started, definitely go ahead and lightsaber slash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel so you do not miss any more LEGO Star Wars content, and without further ado, let's get building. So for the first mock, I had a buddy help me out, and I had a plan for what I wanted to do. Basically, half the build would be kind of like a mountain, and the other half would be a pathway, kind of like how the Endor speeder chase diorama did it. So we started building the mountain and trying to figure out how to put all these slope pieces on it, and kind of messing around with some designs. It was our first time building any big rock formations, so I feel like this was definitely a lot of help to build other rock formations in the future. So once the rock formation was done, it was just me working on it, so I begun on the pathway, and like I said earlier, I was taking it from the Endor speeder chase, where I did a layer of dark tan, and then I placed wedge pieces to make that pathway with green, and then I started layering various plants next to each other, kind of working on some plant designs, trying to make something different. So I did like a 3-stemmed leaf with leaf pieces, and then I mixed in other leaf pieces, and I basically did that for the entire build. And then I went ahead and placed the minifigures. So this first mock is a Luke Skywalker mission where he is searching for Jedi artifacts, but he runs into some Imperial trouble. So the main attraction is the rock formation, kind of the main part of this build. We used various slope pieces. It was my buddy's idea to implement some light bluish gray, because rocks can tend to have, different shades of color. So I definitely like that idea. And then we made it just studs on the top, kind of flat as it's kind of arching up. It turned out very good. I definitely could order some more slope pieces in the future like these to really make it a little bit more smooth, but with what I had, I think it turned out pretty well. It is very detailed. The idea I had to do a dark tan underlayer and then layer dark green on top was definitely a good idea, and it was executed really well. I definitely am proud of this pathway. It looks really good. And so here you can see all the plants and what I basically just laid out. I laid out pretty much a lot of these 3-stemmed leaf pieces and then these other 3 stemmed leaf pieces. And I basically just mixed those throughout the entire build. And I think it turned out very well. I didn't leave really any open spaces, so it could look very foresty a little bit. And then for the stormtroopers, I have one getting force pushed by Luke while Luke is deflecting blasters from the other stormtrooper. And then I have a scout trooper here in the back trying to fire at Luke as well. So I'm glad I had gotten a recent scout trooper, because if I had just used 2 stormtroopers, it definitely would have felt a little empty. This scout trooper definitely fills. Upon building this mock, I am definitely more confident in building more rock formations. This was definitely a learning experience. And then same with like these pathways. Now I have wedge pieces and I know how to use them to make certain pathways. So this mock definitely helped me improve upon some skills that I wanted to improve upon, and then also build some new skills that I wanted to make, especially with the rock formations. So for the second mock, I started with a dark green plate base, and then I wanted to do a small little pond or a cutoff of a river in the right corner of the mock, because I wanted to do some foliage around it and some rebel troopers coming out of the water. So then I started placing some more plates to add a little bit more depth and some more height for the plants to sit on in front of the river. Once that was done, it was time to place the plant, so I started by placing studs and then filling them in with the plant pieces. For the other side of the mock, I spaced out 4 stemmed leaf pieces next to each other. I kind of separated them out throughout the mock, and then I did borrow some trees from the Endor speeder chase diorama, and then I placed the minifigures. The rebel troopers have made landfall from the river. They spotted a speeder bike along with a scout trooper and stormtrooper talking. The stormtrooper and scout trooper haven't seen anything out of the usual, but the rebels are spying on them. I added some trans clear studs just to add some more detail to the actual river, and I added 2 plant pieces for foliage, coming out of the water. And then for one of the rebel troopers, I took off his legs like he is in the river itself, and I added some 1x1 of these little trans clear like slope pieces to add a wave effect around him. And it definitely does look very cool and add a lot more detail to what could have been just a very empty river. And then over here are the 2 other rebel troopers who are laying down, spying on the Imperials behind some very tall grass. I made sure to make the grass very tall and very thick so that the Imperials definitely could not see these rebel troopers if they were to look that way. And then I definitely made enough space for both rebel troopers to lay there. Now, I did borrow the speeder bike from the Endor Speeder Chase diorama because it is just a very awesome speeder bike, and it definitely was what I was going for these Imperials because they are the Imperial speeder bikes. And then I went with a scout trooper and a stormtrooper. They're talking it out like I stated earlier. And then here are the plant pieces, which I did spread out through this entire left side of the mock. There were a couple more things I borrowed from the Endor Speeder Chase diorama, using both of these trees to fill out both of these corners. They definitely made this build less empty, and these are very awesome tree designs, and they come off really easy from the diorama, so it's going to be very easy to just put them back. So it was nice to borrow them a bit. They definitely add a lot more detail to this mock. Upon building this mock, I like building these kind of stealth missions, like I have a side scouting the opponent's side. It's very interesting and very intriguing to build, and I think this definitely was executed well. This was my idea, to have rebel troopers scouting on an Imperial kind of patrol force, and so I'm definitely very happy on how this came out. The third mock will be on the planet Sullust, so I started with a full black base using a bunch of plates. In past Sullust mocks, I would place down a lot of trans orange and trans red tiles for the river layout, but this time I decided to actually do the layout just using black plates, and then I would just fill in with a bunch of just loose tiles, and I definitely do think that was better. Definitely maximizes the parts rather than having to place, 1x1 down throughout the entire mock. Definitely very repetitive. I continued adding numerous plates on the outside just to add some more layering detail to the landscape, and continuing to fill in the lava river itself. I wanted to add something a little Imperial, so I kind of built a little platform on the left side of the mock, added some crates just to add a little bit more change of scenery to the mock. And once that was all done, I went ahead and placed the minifigures in a battle formation. The idea going into this mock was very Battlefront inspired. You got your heroes and you got your regular troops, and obviously this is the planet Sullust, which was seen in the 2018 Battlefront. So this is very Battlefront inspired. Luke and Han are on a mission, and they are on Sullust, and they encountered an Imperial base, and there is Darth Vader. This could be a secret base, could be for cloning or something, so that's why Darth Vader is there. It's a very important facility. So I'm going to actually start here on the left side first. So for the Han minifigure, I used the one from the Yavin 4 base set, because that is the only Han I have currently, but it works. It's just his normal uniform. I just took off the metal, and he is facing down these 2 stormtroopers here on this kind of Imperial platform outside of the base. In the middle of the mock is the lava river, which is in a V shape. I didn't want just one single stream of a river going across the platform. I wanted to do a little bit more, so I decided to go with a V shape where it is one stream, but then it turns around and is another stream going the opposite way, and it definitely turned out very nice. And then connecting both sides of the mock and going across the lava river is a simple little bridge build, which definitely got the job done and was a nice addition. I feel like it really does complete the mock, because obviously you can't just walk on lava. There needs to be a small little bridge connecting, and using these little like slope pieces definitely was the way to go as kind of the small little ramp. The Imperial part of the mock is pretty simple. There's just some crates, for some supplies on the outskirts of the base. And then I added 2 structural pillars just for some added detail for that Imperial section. And then what is probably my favorite part is, of course, Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader. I put a bunch of trans clear studs on top of one another to show that Luke is force jumping to Vader, about to strike, and I both have their lightsabers in position to strike. And it looks very nice. I really like that. I love doing these like force jumps. It's very cool. And for the landscape, there's countless little slope pieces and studs, just adding some more rough work to Sullust because it is a very rocky landscape. Getting to build these original trilogy Mocs was definitely a very awesome opportunity to use these minifigures of my favorite characters. I've said this before, I believe, but Luke Skywalker is my all-time favorite character in like all of fiction. I love Luke Skywalker, so to implement him into a couple of Mocs is just always a fun experience. If you enjoyed the video, lightsaber slash that like button and hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel so you do not miss any more LEGO Star Wars content. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.